Welcome to Soul Connections with your host, Elena Angel.
Hello, this is Elena Angel and Soul Connections, the space for soulful conversations and explorations in consciousness. In last week's episode, I had the great pleasure of sharing with you the inspiration for this show, what the show is about, and how it can add to your life and your journey, helping you to strengthen your connection with your soul purpose, as well as with the people, resources, opportunities that will help you advance on every level and live your best life. In the first episode, my special guest was spiritual mentor and evolutionary astrologer Isaac George. I aired the first part of my conversation with Isaac when we had a look at karma, soul purpose, and destiny. Isaac also shared about his own personal journey of awakening, and he gave us a lot of insight regarding the North and South nodes, how he looks at them in a transit reading, and how they can shed more light on a person's evolutionary journey. In today's episode, you get to hear the rest of my conversation with Isaac. We went on to look at the bigger picture, the collective and planetary trends, and Isaac really expanded the perspective by introducing a more mystical understanding in addition to the astrological one. Isaac also spoke about connecting with important people in life, the kinds of soul connections, relationships, and experience of sexuality that can really open us to our greater self, our greater destiny. These are just some of the highlights. Let's continue on to that second part of the conversation with Isaac George. And stay tuned till the end because we have some really cool giveaways and special treats for you today. Now you spoke about collective movements, general trend of evolution. You said that as a species we're in a pickle. So
a choice point.
A choice point. Okay, that's a better expression. So tell me more about that. What is your assessment and what is your outlook and how does astrology help us?
Okay. The thing that gives me a better understanding about what's going on and how we got here actually has nothing to do with astrology, although astrology is intrinsically part of it. I came to an awareness of the Gnostic teachings back in 2009, 10, 11. And more, that whet my appetite, and so I dug deeper. And by 2012, 2013, I had run across someone who I consider to be a modern-day Gnostic. He's an incredible scholar and reinterpreted or actually retranslated the Nag Hammadi codices that were found in Egypt in 1945, which revealed a whole new cosmology and story of the origins of the human race and the origins of this planet. And it shed light on areas that I had been trying to piece together since the Kundalini awakening, and actually all my life. And once I had that access to that intel, I began to understand more about what was happening now on the planet, not just from an astrologer's view of, the transits are helping me to explain what is happening in the events that occur, all right? But it isn't explaining how do we get from where our amnesia is about our origins and how do we get out of or through these experiences, these initiations as a species on this planet without self-destructing. So the transits are helpful in terms of understanding events that have occurred in order we can avoid or make a different choice in the future. I mean, I looked at the astrology of 9/11. I looked at the astrology of say, the Japanese earthquake and tsunami that ensued in March of 2011. And the markers are there that absolutely indicate something significantly powerful that would affect mass consciousness were going to happen, all right? Can you read the signs ahead of the event? And if so, can you prevent it from happening? The old story is the best kind of prophecy is one that doesn't come to pass, because the message was taken on board, people changed, they made a new choice, they made a new decision, and it didn't manifest. It didn't have to go to that length. That apocalyptic moment didn't have to occur. But apocalypse just means a revealing. Crisis just means an opportunity to change. That's all those terms mean in Latin and Greek. So when I look at what's going on now, I have to look at it more from the Gnostic or mystic's perspective than just the astrological nuts and bolts. How astrology can help us understand the changes that are involved is to help us understand what choices we can make that would make it easier on ourselves, our families, our loved ones, and help make it easier in terms of the transitions that we are going through. You can't avoid them. We're not going to avoid them because they are going to be the mirrors of showing us where our errors have been made and how to correct them. Show us where we're not in alignment with the planetary intelligence, where we're not in alignment with the cosmos through that.
Could you explain a little more about what you meant by what choices we can make? I mean, what are the factors that would determine?
Well, it's like a meeting I went to last night of Ely, which is Ely is in Cambridgeshire, and it's just community deciding to get together and do something really proactive about waste and living in sort of a kind of mindless way day in and day out regarding the environment and how we're, not recycling properly or we're not fixing things up, we're just throw them away and buy something new. So I see that as a seed event in our local community that shows me that people are willing to stop being unconscious about doing things that the system has always told them this is the way you do it, and accepting the status quo without questioning. So there's a small example. The outrage and the uproar that has ensued in the wake of the fires in the Amazon. There is a different scale of event and a different scale of response happening across the planet. Hong Kong again, students ripping down facial recognition towers and cameras, and basically saying, in en masse, in terms of millions of people in that community, we are not going to be any longer held under the thumb, under the boot heel. So there's a growing sense that we have an imperative as a species, not just to save save the human species and the potential of who we are as loving, caring, compassionate, and cooperative beings, but we don't necessarily have to hang on to the culture we've invented because it's not in harmony, obviously, with the planet, and it's not in harmony with who we are. It's been a vehicle to get us to this point, but now it is becoming an anchor to the past, and it's becoming untenable as a way to proceed forward in the future.
Yes, I've often thought that culture is not always a friend.
Favorite quote.
Yeah. And at the same time, for each one of us, we're called to balance, the scale of response.
Yes.
So each one of us has a certain sphere of influence, I like to say. We can take bigger action, and also we can work in community with others, as you've just explained. It's very easy, and I find it very frustrating when I hear about a devastating event and I feel powerless to do anything about it. It's easy to then just, switch it all off. Go, I don't want to hear the news. I don't want to know anything about it. I'll just stay in my bubble because I don't feel I can do anything. But that's not so, is it?
No.
No. We can always work within our sphere of influence. And any more words to that?
I think that's where we find commonality and a ground of being is in developing those connections at a physical human level, which is I'm finding more people hungry for that and actually realizing, we've gone into a sort of an evolutionary cul-de-sac with the idea of the digital age, because it is actually creating more divisiveness and misunderstandings than what its original intent was or what its original promise was. So this is very strange from somebody with Sun conjunct Uranus, and it's like I've been always into tech and I've always enjoyed. I used to fix radios when I was 7 years old. Anything electronic, I'm really into. But now I see how much I and the people around me are so addicted, and we don't know how to show up in the physical anymore, communicate or talk, just in the general space of warmth with another person, with another living thing. So I'm a huge advocate for getting out in nature and rubbing up against trees and sniffing flowers and things like that, which is, it's not a hippie tree hugger thing. It's the way we're designed. We're part of this earth. It's our mother. Every indigenous culture on the planet calls it mother for doggone good reason, and it's there in the Gnostic texts as to why that has always been. We are one of many animal species on the planet. We're very special in one regard, and yet we're on the same playing field with everything that's alive as well. So the astrology, to answer consummately, the astrology aspect here is that astrology is useful in terms of understanding where we have come from, what we are facing right now, and what our alternative modes of response can be.
Thank you for that. What you've shared right at the beginning about your awakening and how it was triggered by a person, a connection with another human being, actually. It wasn't through, reading online, was it?
There was no online back then.
Right, and you are involved with sacred sexuality, and this is probably a topic for a whole new interview, but could you just briefly tell us a little more about this human factor and this soul connection that we can experience with others, and how this ties in with the astrology and our destiny and everything?
That is a great question. I can't answer it in 2 minutes. But I will do my best. Okay, the astrology can help show or illustrate the dynamics that occur between two individuals. One of my favorite readings to do for people or for couples is a couples reading or a synastry analysis. Because we push each other's buttons. Why are you instinctively attracted to somebody? You have no foundation for loving somebody across the room at a party, and yet you do that. I love the explanation in old Donald Walsh's books, Conversations with Gods, when he says, there's the entity of Tomeri. That's Tom and Mary. They're across the room at a social gathering. They lock eyes, and it's like, it's all over. And it's like, when you finally start getting the personalities involved, though, and the subconscious stuff from the egos get unleashed, the original reason for that attraction, that magnetism and the love and the energy that flows between those two individuals goes out the window in favor of the projections. Will she leave me? Will he cheat on me? And all these things from the person's own past dialogue come up and get in the middle. So hence relationship issues, okay? It goes right there. The sexuality stuff, to me, when it's coming from a place where it feels sort of divinely orchestrated by the two souls involved, instead of trying to fill a hole inside because mama didn't love you, all that kind of stuff. It just happens, lightning strikes when you're not looking for it. Those kind of events that happen when we encounter people and we have some sort of touch or we have some sort of sexual thing happen can change your entire direction, or it feels like it changes your entire life direction. Because now you're operating, instead of 1 or 2, 3 chakras, you're operating full online. And that opens up the gateways to the soul's mind, and the soul's mind to the cosmic self. And when that happens, You feel like you are not in control of anything, and that's when the ultimate surrender happens. And that is the punchline. Because we can talk about your destiny, your will, my will, your karma, my karma, but ultimately, the level playing field, the end game is that when that surrender happens, you are the instrument, not the player. And that's what sexuality is. It's not, there's very few mammalian species on the planet that have sex for pleasure. I think 3.
Mm-hmm.
Humans, dolphins, and bonobo chimpanzees, who are a close cousin to us genetically. All the other structures in the culture we have invented because we have needed them for various reasons over thousands of years to help explain or extrapolate or explore who we are as human beings. Nothing wrong with them, and nothing wrong with the institution of marriage, but when it becomes a prescribed cultural standard or a must-do, according to religious authorities, then you start running into problems. And people can then no longer explain, why am I attracted to somebody who I'm not married with? Maybe things aren't happy at home. Fine, let's address that. Or maybe there's some sort of spiritual reason or purpose for the soul creating that scenario in order to create a situation in which the individual is finally able to let go of something that no longer works for either party. And that's the way it was at the end of my second marriage. I was just going through the motions for 4 years. So was she. And in the end, you know how we reconciled? 6 months after the divorce was final, we had dinner together. And after the dinner, she said, do you think you made the right decision leaving the marriage? I said, it's not easy. Every day is a struggle. And I'm really working hard on myself right now to heal the things that I need to look at. But yes, it was the right decision. And she said, yeah, it was for me too. And that was when the healing could happen, not a moment sooner. So we have to, when we're attracted, we have to pay attention. When we feel that connection, it is taking us out of our normal everyday moment and revealing something about our connection to ourselves, deep inside, to soul, to spirit, to love.
Yeah. There's so much we could say here. But anyway, let's stop here. Now you have a gift for our listeners, a transit reading, which is worth £100. Could you tell us what that will do for our listeners?
What it is?
Reading,
the transit
what is
reading.
it exactly?
It's basically I need the person's birth data, so I create their natal chart, the time of their birth, their snapshot of, hello, I'm here. And then the transits are whatever day or the day before I schedule the reading for that individual. Then I get the transit chart up and I do my research. I do my background work as to what is getting triggered off, what planets are touching natal points, what asteroids are touching natal points, and lighting things up or triggering things off, or giving me a picture of where that person is before I even talk to them. So when
it's almost scary.
Yeah,
When you
I
say
know,
like
it's like, okay.
It's like taking clothes off and here I am.
It is
Yeah.
intimacy. It is into me see.
Yes,
okay?
yes, it is.
So when that is there, it's basically that person is giving the permission for access to sort of their case history and what's going on right now. So in that transit reading, it's basically, I'm not going to go into the natal chart. I'm not going to go deeply into like their karmic makeup or anything like that, their soul destiny. I'm going to go into what's happening right now, why, and what do you do with it.
Okay, fantastic. One other thing, we have a monthly prize draw here at Soul Connections, and you've kindly offered a copy of your CD, Excerpts from Eternity. Tell us a little bit about the importance of music to our evolution.
Hugely important in my life. Always has been. I grew up in sort of a musical family. My mother played piano and was a big fan of Broadway musicals and Dixieland jazz and all that. And my dad was a huge classical music buff and also an audiophile, so he always had the best hi-fi equipment, stereo equipment. That's where I got my taste for audio, really. all the gear. I'm a gearhead. And so I grew up in that environment, and music has always been, it's been the soundtrack of everything I've been going through all my life. I mean, really, I can listen to certain pieces of music. I was going through the period of the Kundalini awakening. It still has a strong emotional effect on me. Music that was going on in Ireland during the last transition I was going through. It's like they become like the soundtrack of our stories for me. And maybe for other people it is as well. It's like a song comes on the radio and bam, you're right back there where something significant happened. You met a certain special someone. You were having an amazing, holiday, or you were going through something incredibly deep and turmoil and emotional, or you lost somebody, or you lost something, or went through a very difficult time. The music becomes prescient. It becomes precious, and it becomes prescient because it takes us out of our ordinary sphere of consciousness. The music, as Edgar Cayce said, I studied the American mystic Edgar Cayce, music is the bridge from the finite to the infinite. Music is a language of the soul and of the spirit, and I think it's the reason it speaks to people so loudly in many cultures. Music and dance is just as important as meditation and reflection to me. In fact, in ways that sometimes it's more important. If you can play a musical instrument, bless you, because it actually helps on a practical level to synchronize both hemispheres of the brain. And makes you cognitively a much more integrated individual. But it's what it does in the heart space and what it does in the emotional centers, the solar plexus and the sacral, that helps us root into the planet's song, helps us root into the cosmos' song. That music is always happening. I mean, there's recordings of all the planets and their sonic signatures. And then there's now recordings of stars and their sonic signatures. And just like dolphins, there are no two whistles that are quite alike. You can identify each person by their own sign, astrology, but you can also identify them by their sound signature, the way a voice sounds, the way their vibration feels. Those are sounds as well. You just can't pick them up. Just forget. Human five senses are able to actually access only 0.001% of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So our auditory ability, our ability to close our eyes, shut out the visual context, and take ourselves into a different state of consciousness is quite phenomenal.
And when you compose your music, do you have an intention of what you'd like this music to do for someone listening?
No, this music just happens to me like it used to happen to Beethoven. And sometimes I get frustrated because, not having been a schooled musician and learned sight read and to write notation, it can be frustrating. So I usually just have to go to the keyboard and sit down and pound it out and figure it out myself and record it at the same time, mistakes and all, and then go back and redo it.
Well, that's spirit singing through you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's spontaneous. Improvise. I love doing improvisation. So, musically.
Awesome. Isaac, I'd love to speak with you all day, but we'll have to wrap it up.
Okay.
So Isaac's website is isaacgeorgia.com, and you can also email him at
Isaac@isaacgeorge.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here today. If you were to give one final message to our listeners, like the thing to go away with, what would that message be?
Connection, just connection, people. Mother Nature. That, the opportunity is always there to see something in a different light, no matter what it looks like at first glance. And it's like what's going on in Britain right now. Everything looked dull and dingy on Sunday, and today looking a little better in terms of the potentials for a change that wouldn't have benefited anybody not happening. We'll see. But I think that connection is the thing that keeps us sane, that keeps us in our hearts. So I'm going to leave it with that.
Thank you so much. It's very apt for Soul Connections.
Oh, right, of course.
Of course. Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Have a beautiful day, and speak with you again soon, I hope.
Appreciate it, Elena. I really enjoyed my time here, and I look forward to another one. Take care.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Connection is it for Isaac. And I couldn't agree more. But before we go on, let me just repeat the contact information so that you can get in touch with Isaac and also with us here at Soul Connections. Find out more about Isaac George and his work at www.isaacgeorge.com. There is a contact page on Isaac's website if you want to get in touch with him, or you can email him directly at isaac@isaacgeorge.com. You may also want to look him up on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook and connect with him there. If you'd like to claim your free transit reading from Isaac, normally worth £100, and enter our free prize draw for a copy of Isaac's music CD, Excerpts from Divinity, just drop us a line here at Soul Connections. Our email address is soulconnections@elenaangel.com. I have to say, I made a point of asking Isaac about his music because we have this great passion in common. Earlier in my life, my first career was as a musician. And just like Isaac was saying, I experienced music and sound as vehicles for transcendence. Music can really help us to open to spirit, to ourselves, and to a greater consciousness. Especially when combined with meditation, I find it offers a very powerful way to expand beyond our limitations. Thinking of Isaac's music, it definitely has a transcendent quality. My feeling is that each piece, in its own way, takes you on a dreamlike journey in consciousness. At the end of today's show, I'll play a snippet from one of Isaac's pieces from his CD, Excerpts from Divinity, which is called Inner Warmth. It's a very gentle, very atmospheric piece. For me, it evokes a feeling of floating, an inner stillness. I'm very curious to hear how you experience this music. So that's coming right at the end of the show. But right now, here's a little surprise bonus for you. I'd like to share with you a guided practice that I often use with my clients. It's a meditation that helps you to connect with your soul star, your soul essence and purpose. Really, your soul purpose is who you are on a soul level, wanting to emerge, to express, to co-create in this particular life that you're living. When I do this with my clients and I tune in to receive guidance for them, I see each person's soul purpose as a unique gift that this person has. It's often a very moving, a very poetic moment when that special treasure is revealed. Now, if I were to do this with you, I would also normally get downloads regarding the key qualities that you might be best served cultivating in yourself, in your interactions, and the different areas of your life. I also receive insight for you regarding your next steps, especially if you are at a crossroads, if you're having to make an important decision, if you're facing some challenge, generally feeling unsure about what lies ahead. Obviously, in today's setting, as you're listening to this broadcast now, it's not possible for me to tune in with you personally as an individual and give you very detailed personal downloads. But I want you to trust yourself and have faith that however much or however little you see or hear or otherwise receive as guidance through the process that follows, just the fact that you're doing it here with me, committing to your soul journey, putting your soul first, that's enough for you to activate those events and those resources, both within and without, that will take you to that next level, And please write and let me know how this meditation was for you. The email to use, soulconnections@elenaangel.com. Before we start, a word of warning. The meditation that follows may induce a state of trance. Therefore, it's not safe for you to listen if you're driving, operating machinery, or engaging in any other task that requires your full attention. If this is the case, hit the pause button and come back to this broadcast later when you are in a safe space and you can take a few minutes to sit quietly and do this guided process with me. If that's the case, I'll say goodbye for now and catch you later. But if you're ready to continue, just go ahead, sit down, make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes and let's begin. Begin by noticing your breathing. Take a few deep breaths. Deep breath in and exhale completely, allowing your body to relax. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, allow the day's worries, stresses, all the heaviness to pour out of your body through your feet into the earth. Continue to breathe deeply, feeling your body lighter, more peaceful, and calm. Continue to breathe deeply, and now bring your attention to your heart. Breathe in and out of your heart, feeling your heart expand. Feel your heart glowing, warm. Feel the love in your heart, a gentle joy, and allow this beautiful feeling to grow and expand so that it embraces your whole body. Take a few deep breaths in and out, and feel yourself as peace and love. Continue to breathe deeply, gently, enjoying the beautiful feeling. Feeling expanded, peaceful, loving. And now bring your awareness to your mind. Imagine a bright light at the center of your mind. Is shining brightly in every direction, and you feel your mind expanded, open, spacious, bright. Your mind is filled with light, open, spacious. And now feel the whole of your body, heart, and mind, feeling yourself as peace, love, and light. Now take a few more deep breaths and imagine going up a step in your mind's eye, up a step to a higher level of consciousness where you can see, hear, sense, feel, and know the way your soul does. Have a look around. Feel, how does it feel to be here on this soul level? Notice the sensations, the emotions, the atmosphere. Perhaps there is a helpful presence near you, an angel, spirit guide, a member or members of your family, someone that is close to your heart, there to assist you. If you're sensing such a presence or presences, simply acknowledge them and thank them for being there with you. And imagine looking up and seeing a bright star. Bright, so bright, like a sun shining on you. This is your soul star. This is your personal connection with Source. Feel how beautiful it is to bathe in this gorgeous light. It nourishes you so very deeply. You feel yourself so much brighter as you let more of that light shine on you. And as you feel each ray of light reaching you, reaching deeper into you, it's as though this star is coming closer and closer and closer to you. The star is so close to you now. It feels as though you can become one with it. Be that star. Be this light. Now you are one with this light. You are the star, and you can sense and feel how that feels. So then ask to see, what is this special gift that you have in this life? What is this treasure that you're here to discover in yourself and to share with others? Allow this knowing to come in whatever form it may. Stay in that beautiful feeling and allow yourself to relax and receive guidance, receive the knowing, receive yourself. Let the sounds of the music carry you even deeper into yourself, into your essence and your gifts. Feel yourself an important part of a beautiful design of creation. Begin to sense your soul family, all the people that are here to assist you, all those beautiful connections that are here for you. Begin to sense the beautiful gifts that you have hidden for yourself along the way. Beautiful surprises, presents of fulfillment, achievement, deepening, joy. Know deep in your being that your journey is a special one. Feel the beauty of the life within you, the beautiful adventure, the mystery that you are, and how important you are in this life. you have an important contribution to make, and your happiness is important. Enjoy this beautiful recognition and allow yourself to take in as much nourishment, as much trust and faith and confidence as you need, knowing that you are fully capable, ready to fulfill your soul purpose and to live a wonderful life. You can always come back to this feeling and this elevated state of consciousness whenever you want. For now, stay a little longer, enjoy the music, enjoy yourself, and I'll connect with you again next time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. This is Elena Angel and Soul Connections.
Thanks for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. We hope you enjoyed the show and look forward to you being with us for the next edition of Soul Connections, where you can always find soulful topics and inspiring guests. To find out more about Elena, her work, and how to get in touch, just go to www.elenaangel.com. From all of us to all of you, blessings from Soul Connections.